Good evening, good evening. Hopefully everybody is okay. Let me just make sure I got everything running on my end. Looks like we're good to go. We've got a few topics today. I'm going to show you a little bit of some emails from eBay. We're going to discuss current news going on with eBay. In the description box right now, active right this second, is an article from E-commerce Bytes from Ina. There is also a actual video clip down there talking about the lawsuit that I can almost guarantee you eBay will lose or settle before it ever gets to court, because there's already been convictions on eBay's behalf. So we'll touch on that. We're going to touch on Media Mail. There's some really important things that I need to point out on Media Mail, anywhere in Media Mail from what I see, and a lot of things going along. There's an article on E-commerce Bytes even about that Ina had out the other day. We'll get into the first part of it here. Yesterday, and again, I'll tell you right now, my sales dived, crashed right after this happened, what I'm going to tell you. So take it however you want. Maybe it's a coincidence, but I really find that really hard to believe. But eBay pulled an item from us, and let's actually hop over. Let's just do this part first. I am going to cut myself off on here, and if I can do it without messing up anything, we will switch back over to an email from eBay here, which you should be seeing at this point. Let me just make sure everybody can hear me. I don't see any complaints. Yes, that's me. Sorry. It looks like there's nobody saying they can't hear me, so I'm going to assume everything is good to go. eBay removed an item the other day, and yesterday, as a matter of fact, and it was something that was just listed like an hour or less before this. They pulled it down and dinged our account. Now, it doesn't technically say they dinged it, but I'm going to show you how I know for sure they dinged our account, and that's why I assume they're still suppressing our views and sales possibly at the same time. The item removed had the word feather in the title. That's the only reason it was removed. It is a printed piece of paper. Now, they go through a whole big spiel here, basically insinuating that I did something wrong. And if that's not the case, I'll show you why I say that in just a minute here. Because of the way this was handled, I immediately called eBay. I'm an Anchor Store support. I always have phone support, so I called eBay on the phone directly. That is something you can do with Anchor Store support if you're unaware of that. Going through here in the whole works, they actually removed the listing, so I couldn't even touch it again at all. It didn't show up in my store. It didn't show up anywhere whatsoever. Again, it was on the platform for maybe an hour, maybe not even that long. Again, you can type in feather. You can see all kinds of stuff on there. I just had a video out talking about the wildlife, so that's really suspicious in my book to all of a sudden be dinged for wildlife when I just did a video on it. Take it how you want. Again, my opinion is that there might be something screwy going along with what eBay does with things like this. Again, we don't know who pulled this down. I actually asked them, we'll show you, we'll go into some more detail in a minute, but I actually was giving them the benefit of the doubt. I swear on my life, I gave them the benefit of the doubt and said, hey, this is probably AI, I understand. It would have been nice if somebody would have looked at this and they would have realized that the item in question, which I'll show you, was a piece of paper. Well, come to find out, the eBay representative tells me on the phone that, well, honestly, it was a person who saw this and pulled it down. Why on earth would a person already have hit something that was only up for such a short period of time? Maybe because of who I am. I don't know. But I have to be very suspicious on the whole matter, on what's going on. Now, it tells you can't list anything they've ended. That's not actually true. This item, technically, I couldn't because of the ding it actually hit my account. Again, they're not saying it hit a ding on my account on here, but how this affects your account. They're telling me this is basically sending me a notice as education. So this is marked as a notice. I was sent a notice on my account for doing something that I didn't do. That's the basic gist on this. Now, it's an 1892 Victorian Christmas card. Beautiful bird feather and ribbon. Fab. It's a piece of paper. It's listed in the paper section. It's Victorian trade card listed in that section as well. The card in question here is a fictitious feather. As you can see, it's actually painted onto the cover. Now, since they brought it back, I can't enlarge it, so I can't show you. It just won't blow up. Again, they removed this from my entire store, so I couldn't even see it anymore. Once it's brought back, this is what I have. Now, I've added the word illustration, so I don't have this happen again to me, because now it kind of feels to me like they may be singling me out because of a video I put up, and we know they do that. So anyway, end of story here is I spent like a long time on the phone, talked to 3 different people trying to get it back. It took half a day to get the thing back. We'll show you their response. Again, no one told me I was dinged ever. If you get a case against you, or they do something, I'm going to show you one that they pulled down another one of my items here. And what they actually show you is no policy violation has been recorded on your account. If it doesn't say that on your notice, chances are you have a policy violation, even if it doesn't say you got one. And I say that because after I challenged this, and was pretty irate after I found out that a person actually pulled this down immediately after I listed it, pretty much, it says your appeal has been approved. I had to appeal it. So the only time you would have to appeal something, in my mind, by everything else on eBay, is when there is a case opened up against you. So if there was not a case, why did I have to appeal? I was never told it was appeal. I was never told any of these other things. They looked at the item. They said, yeah, it shouldn't have been pulled, blah, blah, blah. It has to go to this person. They transferred me. Long time on the phone. Many different people talked to the conversation. So if this is not a case, why was it marked as an appeal? Again, it's terminology eBay uses. So if somebody opens a case against me, I can appeal it. That's the way you beat a case, is appealing it and winning it. Now, obviously, I have won the case. Sales are still dead since this happened, though. Take it as you wish, but if you don't put the word illustration next to a wildlife item, you may get the same thing happening to you. If you've got multiples of these up, I don't know what 2 or 3 cases would do to you, but one case, pretty much ended this listing and basically says that I could have issues brought against me by eBay, basically by what it says in there, from what I'm reading into this. Again, why would it be an appeal? Why would it have to be approved? Why would all this other stuff happen to go on if nothing happened to me? Why would my sales immediately tank the minute this happens? Within an hour, I didn't get any more sales the rest of the night. So that's not usual for me at all. We only got one small one today so far today. So again, eBay literally states in some of these messages, some of these emails, that they could block or hide your items. That's literally, in fact, it's let's see here. Not following other actions may take, lowering a seller's rating, fees, limiting buying and selling privileges or spending account. I mean, they go into a bunch of stuff. Part of it is they don't have to show your items. So am I not getting shown? What's going on? Why on earth could a person not distinguish? Again, you could blow it up before this. I don't know why you can't, other than they've done something to it. But the point, again, it's fictitious. It's obviously an illustration in my mind. I can't understand how someone could assume and instantly just ding my account and instantly remove and pull this item without giving me any say. I know it's a private company, but I didn't violate any rules, and I was called a person that was listing wildlife items just because of this picture, this illustration of one. I'm not going to rant and rave on this because there's many more important things that we need to do. I know we're going to see the background. You're going to see me popping around back behind the scenes for just a second here. But we are now back to normal here. This is just ridiculous that it came to the point that I find out that it's a person who did that. Again, I was going to give them credit, even though they never seem to deserve credit. Now, the other item I showed you, the other listing I showed you there that they ended, were 2 magazines that I originally had in the very common normal magazine section. The magazines were from 1957. There was no nudity, no sexual references other than pinups, which are something you would see on any given TV commercial, any print, anything. I mean, there's no nudity, there's no sexual references on them at all. I originally was dinged for those months and months back and told I needed to list those in the adult section. Now, I did that. I moved them to the adult section. Now that they're in the adult section, they ended the adult section. I know I didn't have any adult items up anymore, so I missed 2 pinup books. One sold, thank goodness. The other one, they dinged me for. Now, they didn't, on this one, say I couldn't relist it. Again, they said I needed to meet the rules. It met the rules the first time when they initially told me to move it out of the section that they're now telling me to go back in and put it in. So again, there's no rhyme or reason to what they're doing. There's who knows who pulling the items. As the video that I originally talked about with the wildlife stuff, that video was also going into the fact that eBay has people that don't work for the company, that work for federal and government agencies, having the ability to pull your listings down. Now, who did my listing? Who pulled that down? Was it somebody who doesn't have a clue about eBay categories? Oh, there's a feather, we need to ding that one. Was I reported to some agency for having a feather up there? I don't know. It's a $10,000 fine for, like, let's say if you sell a bald eagle feather. Something that happens. It's literally a $10,000 fine, even if you didn't know it was. So again, I understand the principles. I don't list stuff like that. There's no feathers in my store. There's nothing in my store that I don't know what it is. Bovine, I list for bone. I list feathers if it's like a boa. Those are usually chicken or something along that line, goose feathers. So I usually list everything that's there. So I knew I didn't violate any rules because we're extremely careful. And even the adult magazine, which they're saying was adult, isn't really an adult. It is something that I could even list on Amazon because, again, the cover is perfectly legit. There's no nudity. There's no nudity in the magazines. They're vintage pinups. So again, their own rules don't mean anything to themselves because they don't follow them. They're constantly, I can go and see nudity, full-fledged frontal nudity right this second in some categories, which is, bothersome that I can't list something that's a pinup with a fully dressed person, but yet, this is what's going on. And it's like this all over the place. I'm not here trying to just go after eBay, but this is the kind of thing you're going to have to worry about. You can't list wildlife items even if they're legit, even if you're allowed, because you run the risk of somebody who doesn't know how eBay's categories work pulling your listing down. Again, I don't know for sure that happened, but anybody in their right mind, if you have something in a paper category, you're looking at a paper card, you've got eyes, you can tell the difference. There's no shadow, there's nothing else. It's an illustration of a feather that wouldn't possibly exist. So if someone's saying I'm violating something wrong, what kind of feather are you trying to say I'm selling? Anyway, without that, let's just move on from there because I've already fixed it. It took, a bunch of time. 2 days in a row I've wasted time on eBay. It's always eBay. It's always eBay. But on with the lawsuit. Before I discuss this, I just want to preface this. I write for the couple that's filing the lawsuit against eBay. I write for e-commerce bites. I don't want to leave that out. I don't want somebody saying you're covering up, you're trying to push, or anything else, because that's not my intent. This is clear, 100% good news. Well, I'm not trying to say it's good. It's actual news. I report a lot of news on here. I report a lot of events and things going on. eBay is getting sued by Ina and her husband. They run e-commerce bites. I have a link to their site, to the article talking about this from their site on the description box here in this video. It's already there. There's also a link to a video, so if you want to see who they are, who the couple is, their lawyer. Their lawyer is somebody who's been on TV before. They picked somebody apparently who is fairly well knowledgeable in things like this. If there was ever a case that's going to 100% go in someone else's favor and eBay's going to lose, it's going to be this one. There's already been, I think, 4 or 5 convictions. One of the named persons on the lawsuit against them is David Winnig, the former CEO of eBay. He is one of the people they are suing. So again, their case is bolstered by the fact that quite a few people have already admitted to what they did. So a case of this sort, eBay is not going to want to get in the news. And for some reason, it's not all over the news, even though this is the biggest lawsuit ever that I can think of that has the most potential to win over eBay ever that I can think of. I've went back, I've tried to look. And I mean, with all the convictions and the evidence, very clear evidence, eBay is going to have to just cave and give them whatever they want. And I sure hope they hurt eBay. And I hate to say it, but eBay deserves everything they get from what they did to the Steiners. I have no regrets for saying that at all, because they terrorized, they basically threatened their lives and sent things that a mob person would send, like a bloodied horse mask or something. I don't remember the exact specifics. It's been a little while since I read over it, but it was just disgusting, awful stuff. And it was basically, as far as in my opinion, orchestrated by the past CEO. That's why he stepped down, in my opinion. You can look when he stepped down. You can look when this happened. It's pretty obvious to me. And again, that's why the current CEO of eBay took the job. He was the only one they could get to take it. Nobody would want to pick somebody who killed the Nook. That's I can't imagine any smart company figuring out they picked somebody who killed one of the best opportunities another company would have had. You take that as you wish, but I think everybody should check out those articles there on E-commerce Bytes. Again, not because I have anything to do with them, but because you need to understand the type of people who run these companies. Nobody means anything. All it is the bottom dollar. And I know most of corporate America is like that, but these people went to such an extreme. The CEO, the prior one, I'm not saying this word for word, but I think it was, I want to burn him to the ground or get him at all costs, was what he said about the Steiners. And to me, I'm a morally just person, or I try to be in every way, shape, or form. I'm not one to be a big judgment against other people. I try and live and let live. But this is just, the case in general has been muted. There's a lot of PR stuff from eBay trying to cover this up. They're not responding to the news articles that I saw. No one returned any of it. They want to act like it didn't happen. But we're talking about the highest ranking people in the entire multi-billion-dollar international company. As far as my opinion is, they were fully involved and orchestrated this. In my opinion, again, I'm allowed to have an opinion. So that's my take on that. And I really think everybody should watch that video I got clipped on. It's not for me. It's just a news channel from the area that they live in. And the other one is an article just going from the lawyer. The article is the letter the lawyer posted to the general public with the case, because the case was just opened, I think it was yesterday. But this is something that's been coming for some time. If you didn't see it coming, I mean, it was obviously going to happen. There's no question in my mind. I knew it was going to happen. I've chatted back and forth with Ina for almost a year now, and she's always been the most pleasantest person. She's a news reporter. She's out for the facts, and she sticks up for when things happen or they go wrong or when people aren't held accountable. And that's what someone like her should do. That's what helps us. I've read the site for 6+, maybe longer than that. I've paid attention to that site because there's always, in my opinion, as a seller, full-time person, the site has always offered me the best information that's helpful to what I do. And again, I'm not at all saying that. I don't do stuff with things that I don't agree with or I don't follow or I don't do. Everybody who's watched this channel knows that's what I do. I don't promote anything that I don't use. I don't offer stuff that I don't use. I don't tell you to go do stuff that I don't use. If I haven't used it, I don't recommend it. I know I have people complaining you should recommend things like this is okay, that's okay. I haven't used it. If I haven't used it, I don't use it, I don't read it, I don't recommend it. If you want my recommendations, I can't recommend something that I don't use. And I've read E-commerce Bytes for a very, very, very long time. So, trying to silence the voice of people trying to help people, the big business, is what's happened to this case. So I think as I said, they're going to settle. I can't imagine in the world. Now, the individuals now, because the case is against multiple individuals as well as some other company. There's another company name in there, which I think is a security firm that trains people. So there's a lot involved in here. We only know the bare bones details. Again, eBay apparently, from other articles I read, from what I've seen, purged a whole bunch of staff over this and all kinds of stuff. It doesn't mean that the board of directors are still there as far as I know. So it doesn't mean that the people who instigated this are gone from the company in my mind. The board of directors, the stockholders, all that kind of stuff could still be there as far as I'm concerned. I have no faith in the people running it. I love the site itself, the aspect, the ability to do stuff on the site. So I'm not giving it up. It's still a good source of revenue. It keeps getting less and less. Right now, we're going to dive into the media mail issue in just a minute here. I might pull all my media items off the site, and that's a lot of items. There's a couple $100,000 minimum of media items I probably have on their site. So I'm contemplating it very heavy once we get some answers back from a few folks. And again, I don't do this with any great joy at all. I may make a little less money, but honestly, at this point, I'm just so fed up with constant. I never have issues anywhere else, and that's part of the reason. So let's just go right to the media mail here. So I'll give you the dope on this. For anybody who hasn't realized, or you don't sell anything media, they're just blocking off, randomly clicking off the ability to ship media items in all kinds of categories. Categories, for example, like sheet music, that it's all media. A sheet music category in itself is a media category. All sheet music and songbooks are qualified for being media mail. I've been shipping sheet music for decades. Anybody who ships it, it's on the list. It's on the list with the post office. It's on eBay's list of items. And again, they've blocked it. Now, I've got other people sticking up, and I'm almost at this point assuming that it's people who work at eBay leaving comments saying, oh no, they said it was a mistake. They said this, they said that. This has been going on in categories for a year and a half. If it's a mistake, it's the biggest mistake that eBay has blindly unable to fix. What they've done is, it's probably a radio button. They've probably just clicked something off. That's the gist of it, because it still shows up as an option. It just doesn't allow you to ship media mail out. One of the Ina's articles on there talks about, like, a gentleman was talking about stamps. Stamp books can go out media mail. And just because you think it's a stamp, you shouldn't have media mail and stamps, the price guides are books. Every price guide in every category is a book. I sell books in categories that aren't book categories and have to always ship them through PayPal or Pirate Ship or something along that. I have to ship them online. There's no discount for media, so I don't really care. It's just a nuisance and annoying aspect that I can't ship legally from the site that I'm selling the item on. It forces you to use a secondary means to do it. And I know some people say just mail them from your house or go to the post office. I sell online. The whole reason I sell online and not at a flea market or something or wherever else is because I want to be able to use the services that are offered to me to use, which is to use the online printing option. It's so much easier. I don't have to pay for gas. The mail comes by my house every single day. If I'm at the business, they come by there whenever I want. You can schedule them in advance for pickups. So across the board, there's no benefit to me wanting to go to the post office, because around here, as of last week, Amazon delivers all of their own packages. And I find out when the mail shows up just after 10 in the morning and they've never been here before, say 1 in 5+ years, I find that they're now hurting because packages are way down because they shipped so much of Amazon's product. So I can, unfortunately, maybe there's something going on to cut off media mail. And I hate to even think that, but if you put 2 and 2 together, the post office is hurting, media mail isn't making them much money, blah, blah, blah. I could see them blocking it down to just an educational only aspect. eBay's crushing it and killing it everywhere at this point. I've had people tell me they can't ship records, they can't ship books in a record category, in a book category. Now, that video I have up is just from a day or so ago. If you watch the video and look at the comments on there, there's just dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of people all saying, it happened to me, 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 it happened to me. It just goes on and on and on and on. Every board talking about it. Tons of people saying it all over the place. Some folks, including somebody posted a post from Brian Burke, which is somebody I've talked to in the past, and they say it's an issue they're aware of and they're working on. And now it's been going on for more than a week just in the media sheet music category. Again, if they can't fix a switch, they don't need to be running a website. I'm sorry, but this is just ridiculous. I don't see it as it's an error. I see it as whoever, again, opinions. I see it as whoever is doing the technical part doesn't understand what a category is, doesn't understand how media mail works. I would never assign somebody a spot to address my media mail issues who doesn't understand what media mail is. And that's the bottom line. If an employee of mine messed it up where no one could ship something, they would be written up, if not terminated, if I could legally do that. Because now they're impacting my customer base. And not just me, but you're impacting possibly the buyers, because they now have to maybe wait because the person may not have the funds in an account or whatever the case may be because of managed payments. And you may not think, that's not going to happen. You've always got enough money, but people are just starting off. People are in dire need. People are trying to do the best they can. So when you hit somebody with something that's always been able to be done and don't even tell them, and now you're trying to say it's an error that you can't mysteriously fix. It's an error that happened a year and a half ago, which you denied happening. And this same Mr. Burke, I've actually brought this issue up to him a year and a half ago. part of the reason why I just don't even bother messing with eBay, because I get the runaround from people at eBay, never get a straight answer. When they tell me an answer, it's never what happens. Just like, hey, you're going to be able to sell adult material. Nah, we changed our mind again. We're going to click off coins. Then we're going to blame it on this. We're going to say that. And finally, they brought it back, but I'm not putting my coins on the site anymore. I already went somewhere else and already found somewhere else to sell them. You know, again, it's ridiculous in my book. It's ridiculous. The media mail alone is affecting a lot of people. No worries, apparently, because it's still going on. As of just an hour ago, I've got people telling me that. Multiples, not just one, not just two. I haven't any sales since this issue with the card, barely. I got one offer pending now, which I haven't touched, and that's not usual. So I really think I've been ghosted by eBay at this point. If it continues, I'm going to possibly address it some other way. But, you know, again, we don't know who pulls your stuff down. They don't know what media mail is, apparently. It's just a free-for-all at eBay. I've seen a better organized thing in a clown car than I have running eBay at this point. And I say this with no joy again. I get nothing out of eBay not doing good. I would be more happy if I just had one site, one place to deal with. But again, you can't trust anybody these days in big business. So be cautious, be careful, watch out for your store. Don't trust what you're hearing from those folks running eBay. They're a private company. They can do what they want. It's not an issue of freedom of speech. None of that has anything to do with the private company, which is what eBay is. So I've had people say it's communism and all this stuff. eBay is a private company. None of the things that everybody keeps saying it's freedom of speech if they censor this or do that, none of that has anything to do with the private company. You know, so anyway, that's just my take on that. Not to rant and rave. We'll go into some normal content here, but it piles on. It's a daily dredge. I'm fine with making a little less money, I think, at this point, to put my stuff somewhere else. And, you know, I just hit $1 million worth of live inventory on eBay, so I wouldn't really want to pull stuff down. I've been fighting for this for a while, so it puts everybody in a bad spot because, again, I don't like what's going on at eBay at all, and the complications, the errors. So yesterday, last month or a month or so ago, I was tracking all the errors we get daily. And it happened every single day. Every single day, something errored out. Yesterday, it was 3 or 4 times the loading and the pictures would just spin. It wasn't on my end because it did it on every single spot. We did it from Wi-Fi. I did it from my phone. Nowhere. It was eBay. Then my son's listing, it was like 11:30 at night, and it kept crashing. He would go to hit the list button. Sorry, it's not you, it's us, you know, and then he'd have to do the listing over. Every day, every single day, I have multiple issues with the site. Every single day. And I know a lot of other people do because I talk to a lot of people. They just need to fix it. They need to stop buying back their own stock and fix the site. The joyride of the pandemic may be over for eBay, and they're not going to be able to keep what's going on. They're going to be back to being underwater year after year if it keeps on going. You know, they're blowing it when they had the biggest opportunity given to them. Is my issue with that. Again, I don't wish any ill harm. We just lost somebody to the pandemic just on the other day, on the day that I was on Dom's channel. An hour before the channel, we got a call. So trust me, you know, I'm not trying to belittle anything, but eBay was given some gift that they didn't deserve that gave them a lot of sales because people had to shop and wanted to shop online. They're not going to keep the sales coming in that rate. You know, how many people want a luxury purse? How many people are buying $3,000 baseball cards and cards like that? Or watches. You know, they're only looking after the people. Again, here's an opinion now. Like the shoe issue. We already know that one of the guys in corporate eBay, him and his son have a shoe business. So mysteriously, shoes get it. One of the other guys on the board or something was into guitars. And so all of a sudden, the lowest final value fee of all the site is in guitars. And it had been for years and years and years and years and years and years. I'm sure some execs probably into watches, and that's why watches are that way. Same thing with purses. I know they're trying to compete with the Real and all this other stuff, but there's no comparison. They're going after low-lying fruit and allowing flooding from poorly done rip-off products from China and other places. Nothing against any other country. That's not the point. But inferior quality from anywhere should not be on any platform. We Thredup. I'll give you a story about Thredup in a little while here too. Because we've had another bad... We're never ordering from Thredup again. Ever in our lives, because this is the final straw. But I'll talk about that in a little while here. Let's get to some questions here. Let's get off eBay for a minute here. I'm not trying to make this into a rant, but 2-3 days in a row dealing with eBay, and it's the only headaches I have these days. I've got medical conditions. My son's got a medical condition. I've got other stuff going on and stuff, but eBay is always the headache. Again, I wished it wasn't so, but let's pop back up in here. I know I probably ranted longer than I said I would in my head, but again, let's pop back up here. I may have missed some of the very top ones because it only allows you to see so much of your feed at a time. If you're enjoying the conversation, we got 332 people in the house on my end. Please hit the thumbs up here. This is news. This is important. Think of it as a rant or whatever you want, but this is stuff that I think everybody who is invested in a platform needs to know. That's part of the reason why I say that, like e-commerce bite and stuff, e-commerce bites, they offer relevant information. Even if you don't use them, look at what's going on in the reselling world in general. Even if you're only on one site, other things affect you. Rules, laws, tax things, and that all affects you. It's to your best benefit to keep track of. If I worked for a company, I followed their stocks, I followed, trade magazine articles on them and things like that. The higher up I was, the more I wanted to know what was going on because it affected my pocketbook. If something's going on with eBay, it could affect you because it may hurt them. They may need to raise fees. They're going to do it anyway. But anyway, let's go on and see. I see Duncan's in the house. Duncan's into stamps as well. I love stamps almost as much as I love buttons, and I love buttons. I've been into stamps probably longer than anything other than, say, comic books. I collected comic books when I was 6 and 7 for many years. I had a large assortment of Batman going way back into the 40s back in the day. But anyway, welcome in, Duncan. Space Bears, how are you doing? AJI3 Sales, how are you doing? I'm happy with eBay. If the sales don't change, I'm going to honestly and sincerely assume that eBay is now ghosting my listings. It's a very unreasonable amount of time for me not to have sales rolling in. I know my numbers. I know where I go. I do projections every day, and it's mysterious that an hour after I list something, my stuff pretty much changes. And it's one of the things they do when you violate a rule. Picky Ricky, how are you doing? Picky Ricky, I'm getting upset with the amount of scammers on eBay myself. I don't think I can take much more of eBay not noticing what the scammers are. It's been constant last couple of months. I know there's a lot of scammers too. I can pretty much... Every year we've bought gifts offline for family members and stuff, and every year I've gotten taken by a scammer. Every year. I mean, we got our money back at the end of the day and all, but it just... you buy a PlayStation, you want it here, you order it in time, and you get something that's, they're putting you off, and then finally they mail it late. You get it, and it's a brick. That's honest to God what happened is we got a brick instead of a PS3, or I don't remember if it was the PS3 or the PS4, but we got a brick once. And it came from Hawaii. It was from a long-time seller, at least the account was a long-time seller's account. And it took a little while to get our money back. Anyway, it's just been a nuisance. Let me just touch on Thredup. I don't sell on Thredup. I don't do any of the box. I don't do anything with Thredup anymore. My wife's ordered some clothing from Thredup. Thredup is, if you're typing in the type of clothing my wife likes, Thredup shows up every day. There's no way to block looking at specifics, so she ends up getting stuck with the Thredup and stuff. We ordered directly from Thredup the other day. They've got, quoted time frames, and this is like the third issue with Thredup. The first issue was something my wife bought from eBay. This is from eBay, mind you. She bought a shirt or something off of eBay. Didn't realize it was Thredup until after she purchased it. Well, they mailed it late. The tracking number took forever to be posted. And then it arrived and it was missized. Very obviously, it was a juvenile. There's no way it was for anybody older than a 7 or 8 year old by the size of it. It was in the ladies' clothing. I returned it. The whole works. They didn't want to give us our shipping costs back. And then at the end of the day, when the item was marked as returned with the post office, I waited the 5 full days that I was told. They still hadn't refunded me my money. So we had to file a case against Thredup. I know I'm not the only one. I've had many people tell me that exact same thing. The second time she orders something from Thredup, and again, same thing, delayed. It was coming from several places. They said this, they said that. The tracking wasn't uploaded for a long time. And then when the tracking was uploaded, it wasn't even actually shipped at that point. And then it was like 14 days after it was supposed to have arrived, 14 plus business days beyond the point of it. Last one, she ordered a bunch of items. It was like $150 or $170, but I don't remember the total amount, but it was like 14 or 15 pieces of clothing. And this is the one that she still hasn't got. She ordered it on the 4th. They didn't ship it till the 19th. Well, let's put it this way. They marked it as being shipped on the 19th in one spot, and then it still said pending shipment in another spot. No way to contact them. None of the messaging things worked. It actually timed out and crashed, so we weren't even able to contact them. We don't know where the clothing's at. I would never, ever recommend Thredup ever again. They deal on eBay. I bring up Thredup because at this point, if you're not watching the marketing clothing, I've been talking about this. There are retail establishments, major department stores now that sell secondhand clothing via Thredup. Thredup has had a lot of PR, a lot of publicity, a lot of videos out there, a lot of things going on with Thredup. I'm just, I could see them being more and more of a dominant factor. As a business person, as someone who worked in corporate America before, I ran restaurants, I did regional, I handled millions of dollars worth of it. Thredup could seriously work out a deal with like Nike, with main clothing vendors to be the exclusive, legally allowable person to sell their clothing. And then you could get Veroed. And I know this isn't happening yet, but if you're watching the Vero page, if you've watched it over the years since they've created it, the amount of businesses on it are just, it's expanded to some horrendously high amount. Some of the clothing items, you used to be able to sell stuff like that on Amazon more readily. You could use this, you could do that, you could do this. A lot of people don't know that, but as companies came in, they've been Veroing this, they've been Veroing that. So I see Thredup trying to position themselves to be the all-knowing best source for your used clothing, for either selling it or buying it, because you can get a box, ship it to them, and they'll give you pennies on the dollar for your clothing. And these are opinions. You can take it as you wish on that one, but I play around with almost every platform out there, so just FYI. But let's go back to some questions. I know that's a little off topic there. Here's Duncan again. I know several sellers who say their items are being suppressed, hidden by eBay. Is there any solution apart from ending the listing and redoing it? Doing that is like a fee grab. Yeah, let's go back to media mail and talk about fee grabs here. So you can't ship the media mail, like let's say I want to ship sheet music. I've got several screenshots now from conversations and chats, live chats with eBay and stuff like that, where they're telling people to list their non-book items in a book category, a category that is automatically going to be media mail. Now, they're not, here's where the problem comes into play here. They're not telling people that if you move those items from one category to another, there's a higher fee. You're going to pay more to do that. Is this a fee grab? I don't know. You tell me. Is it a fee grab when somebody tells you, well, just put it in this other category, but doesn't point out that, hey, doing so, though, will cost you more money if it sells? Is that right? Is that something that might not be legal? I don't know. Again, my opinion is that's very questionable. If I told somebody, why don't you buy that one over there, and didn't tell them it would cost twice as much or your fees would be 3% more or something, I think that would be a little wrong to do. I think most people out there, if you were told to do something but weren't told it was going to cost you more money and wasn't physically or verbally expressed that you'd lose money at doing it, you could lose a little more money because the fees are higher, I think that would be a little wrong. I think most people out there would see that as either deceptive, maybe not intentionally deceptive, because maybe the people on the phone don't even know that it would be a different fee. Who knows what those people know at the phone? They're only told so much. I know I've had people tell me that, eBay employees are supposed to be able to sell and stuff, but if you don't have anchor store support, you're probably talking to somebody in India or Bangladesh or something, and they don't know the rules on eBay. You really think that eBay makes somebody from the overseas customer support offices sell on the platform? There may not even be a site in the country they live in. I don't know. I don't think there's a Bangladesh eBay, or any of that kind of stuff. And again, that's not against the people who live there. I'm not trying to insinuate anything like that. These are all things I think about. These are things that most people should think about, All around, it's just bad to tell you to list it somewhere else where the fees are higher. It's a violation of trust if you're telling somebody new who may not understand that. They know what the fees are in their category. Probably most people right now probably aren't even thinking, well, let's list it somewhere else, that the fees are going to be more. So it's costing you more money. So again, these are things that need to be pointed out because they're not right. They're not just with what a professional business should do. Again, I don't hold much water with anybody running the company. Read the articles in the description box. You'll see why, which is my opinion from the last CEO, which stepped down over this harassment of the Steiners, the Ina and David of e-commerce bites. When I see good people that they're doing to, I can't trust that a lot of these moves they're making are not intentional. Again, opinions on that, but my opinions are usually pretty darn good on what happens, I knew Ina was going to sue them. Anybody in their right mind would sue the heck out of eBay when your life was threatened and they tried to break into your house and put illegal tracking devices on your car and sending pornography to your neighbor's address with your name on it. I think anybody would have a problem with that. And to find out it was the head of global security for the entire company of eBay, and the CEO was the one who, in my opinion, instigated and started the whole process. So again, this is the people that we have to live with running the company that we list our stuff on. I like to know. I look up their history. I want to know where their mind is. We know what's going on with eBay. They're bringing in Walmart people, and they're getting rid of things that Walmart, in my mind, wouldn't sell. So anyway, let's go back to some questions and comments here. Duncan's going on. The trouble is eBay is not policing scammers. How hard could it be to sort accounts doing the wrong things and trying to steal items for free? I never have a problem myself with scammers. I really don't. If I'm buying something on the sites when I have with scammers, if I am selling, I haven't been taken by a seller in a very year. I couldn't even tell you the last time a seller got one over on me. If you follow the rules, the returns, and follow the policies, I do the free returns with the 30-day. And again, I know people have tried to tell me that that's not true. You don't get any benefits, but that's not the case. You don't get your feedback removed without having the free returns. So again, I know the policies. I've read them, did a video on it because I was just kind of all the folks telling me I didn't know what I was talking about. But I looked into it. I even called eBay, and I know they're not the best one, but I'm sure that the policy states that. I show it in the video. You can look at it yourself in another video. But yeah, I'm not. They're making sales. I don't know if they're really worried about taking stuff down or taking action. When a photo of a feather gets taken down, but yet I can turn around right after that happened and type in ivory and find things that are almost assuredly ivory still selling on the site, even though eBay has been investigated by that. eBay has been stated as by the Federal Wildlife Agency as being the biggest site perpetrator. They're not saying eBay technically is doing it, but they're not policing it. So the Wildlife Federation has found ivory on eBay, I don't know how many times, a lot. It's the biggest site for it from what the articles I've personally read on it. So again, I don't see any urgency to do anything about it. If they wanted to do it, instead of buying back 5.1, and this is a true number, $5.1 billion of stock, they could have invested a couple $100 million only into hiring some more people to police the site and to stop the scammers. With any corporate business, and I worked in corporate, I had to control labor. That's part of, if I missed my labor numbers, I missed part of my bonus. I lost a good chunk of change. Could be $5,000, $10,000 every 3 months I could lose based on my sales if I didn't hit my numbers. That's what they're worried about. They're worried about their labor numbers. They're bringing in only what they have to, just like every other business does these days. And it's not the way it used to be. Used to be where you'd have plenty of service. There used to be people that came out to your car and pumped your gas free of charge. There used to be people that washed your windows free of charge. That was just part of the service. Now I don't see it anywhere these days. But anyway, I know I'm ranting a little bit. My honest goal is to have the best sites out there to sell on. I don't know how anybody else wouldn't want that. And these are the things that you got to understand that it does. We're fighting with cardboard with eBay. They've got all the cards. They do what they want without regard for what's best for the majority of people on the platform. It's all about their pocketbook. And you can't say that that's not true in my mind, because no one in their right mind would have spent $5.1 billion just to buy back their own stock when they could have improved all of the site itself, invested in a couple $1 billion in advertising. The return on something like that would be far more than getting a quick payout from buying back your stock. That just made the folks on the board of directors richer. That's all it did. It didn't help the platform. And again, it's short-sighted thinking, because it's not going to improve the site. They used to advertise a year or two ago. I don't see any advertisements. I don't see nothing from eBay anymore. They're just taking for granted all this money rolling in. All these folks are making all this money. The CEO, all the people running the company are making a ton of money from the pandemic. I wouldn't be surprised if once the numbers start to go down, the CEO is changed again. Another change of house, back to square one. They'll just hire him somewhere else, just like Devin Winnig, whatever his name, Devin Winnig. He works for one of the car companies now. I don't get it. I just don't get how, other than the fact that it just shows to me there's so much corruption in corporate America that I don't. You're lucky enough to survive some days. But anyway, I know I'm ranting. I know. I'm sorry. Hey, Mr. Hale, how are you doing this evening? I got Regina Hoffman right down below. Let's see here. Picky Ricky again. Well, I just sold Rant's record player in perfect condition. Item is on its way back. Trash. Not impressed. Most expensive item I have sold so far. Wiped out all profits from last month. Now, if they damaged it, I would have an insurance. You should have had insurance on that. If it gets damaged, it should be covered through insurance. Picky Ricky would be my personal opinion on that. I always cover insurance. If you sent it to them with insurance, eBay darn well should send it back, require insurance on the way back. Because eBay requires, if the item's over a certain amount, you're supposed to have signature confirmation and all this stuff. If it's returned to you, you may have to refund the money immediately, but you can challenge the case, flip it back in your behalf, show what happened to it. I would record it. I know it may not work 100% of the time. eBay may not want to even see it, but I would record it with the post office guy standing, woman, lady, man, whatever the case may be, in front of you, so you can show that it walked up to you damaged like that. If the person said it was damaged there, again, I would do the insurance step on it and turn it in for insurance. I've had some stuff damaged. I've had some stuff where I didn't refund them all their money. If they destroy it, there's some other cases you can challenge the case. With 30-day free returns and stuff like that too, they remove stuff like that. People can't leave certain types of feedback on you. So I don't refund them all their money if they're screwed around. If somebody, let's say I sent something out and it was worth $100, they damaged it, I don't have to refund half their money. And hopefully it's enough to cover me selling it again and getting enough to get the same amount back out of it. But Cornelius, how are you doing this evening? Good to see you in. Angela H., welcome. Lead Belt Emporium, welcome. Hey, Black Crystal Dice, how are you doing? Hopefully you are doing well. Hang on. J. Spain Green, how are you doing? Hey, Dom, how you doing? Dom's calling me Din. Dom, what are you doing? I don't want to call you Dim, though, even though you got me down as Dim. I know it's a typo. I'm just messing with you, Dom. Again, Dom, we good friends of the show, good friends of the channel, good friends of mine. In fact, I chatted with him earlier today about something. But if you don't know who Dom is, check out Primetime Treasure Hunter as well. Great channel. One of the very few that I take the time out to watch or listen to while I'm doing stuff. So, like somebody I recommend people that I believe are legit and give you good information. So, ones that I watch. Let's see, where are we at here? Mud Rabbit, how are you doing? I had the eBay app. eBay asked me for my social security number. I haven't sold anything on there since. Now, social security numbers, I know a lot of people have a problem with that. If somebody really wanted your social security number, they could easily get it. That is not something hard to get on the dark web. And I hate to say that, but that's the facts of the matter here. I gave them the information because I've got it in other places, your accountant, and there's a lot of things. There's a lot of opportunities for somebody to steal your information. In this day and age, you've pretty much got to do certain things no matter where you're at. And I know there's some sites out there right now that do not ask for that information, but 99.99999% guarantee you that they will at some point in the very near future as things progress with what's going on. Smaller sites are now stepping up to what the bigger sites are doing and things like that. Like Ruby Lane, I even posted a letter from Ruby Lane the other day on and I think it's in Patreon. But anyway, a lot of the sites are now having to do the exact same thing that the big sites doing. So you're going to have that same thing. It's the Wild West on some sites now, say like selling on Facebook Marketplace and Macari, however it's pronounced. Again, I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm not really concerned about that. I don't sell it. It's not worth my time at this point. But they're all going to have to step up. I'll guarantee you almost pretty much so that's going to happen. Everyone has progressed to those stages. So, use it while you can, those sites that don't have the same return rates. One of them has a 3-day and it's the person's stuck with it. They can't ask for money back and all that stuff too. I'd never buy from a site personally that did that, but because I may not be home. I may be out of town when it arrives, and I'm past my date the minute it shows up at the house. So those are the type of things why people don't mess with certain sites, and why sites that may not offer a real return policy won't get as much traction at all as, say, Amazon, eBay, and stuff like that too. Those sites know that they have to step up to meet those expectations. Hey, Record Crate, how are you doing? Rock and roll for sure. We were talking with Dom, and Dom's talking about motivation and stuff like that. Now, I don't watch TV shows, and I swear to you, I don't. I don't watch. The only time I do is if it's like family movie night, or finally made it to bed. We got a large screen in the bedroom sitting on one of the dressers in there. Maybe the wife wants to watch something. I'll hang out and watch something like that. I don't miss it. But what I do instead is I'm rocking it. There's always music around here playing. I've got some massive playlists here. We have YouTube Red or whatever it's called, where you don't have commercials. So I have playlists. When I'm working or listing, I'm motivated by music, majorly. I'm a very big music buff. My college master's thesis is on music. Most of my major paperworks were on music, influence of the masses and things like that too. So I am a huge music person. I am rocking it out. I did misquote something the other day, and I didn't even realize I did it. South of Heaven is by Slayer, and that is correct. I did state Testament. Testament does have, or did do, South of Heaven from what I see, but that's not the version I'm talking about. I was talking about Orlando and Orange Avenue. We used to go down to Sportstown Billiard, and on their jukebox, we'd play pool there 3 or 4 times a week. A bunch of Disney employees would go there. That's when I worked for Disney. And first song we always hit on the jukebox was South of Heaven by Slayer. So do apologize. That was an honest mistake. I like Testament as well. So anyway, if you don't know what that is, it's heavy metal. But I like everything. I like a lot of different things. I'm not confined to one genre of music. I listen to oldies. I listen to rockabilly. Beastie Boys is one of my favorite. You can't go wrong. Run DMC I've always liked. I actually saw Run DMC in Detroit. So anyway, I go way back with music. But anyway, let's see here. Yeah, the eBay with the stuff. You have to put the word. I'll bring this back just for another minute here. You have to put the word illustration if you're listing a animal like feather. I went back in and worded it with illustration, feather illustration. I should never have to do that. It just takes a little bit of brains to figure out. Again, we don't know who's pulling these listings down. It could be someone from another country for all we know. Because again, eBay has that other gateway now that isn't open to us at all. We can't use it. We can't see. We don't know anything about it. They've opened it up to government agencies. I'm sure the Fish and Wildlife departments probably has full-fledged access to it. And again, we don't know if they're giving out our information or not. It doesn't say they are, but it doesn't say they're not. And again, if they're giving them free reign without having a subpoena, chances are they might give out that information as well. Now, they're allowed to some extent, depending on the situation. Prior to them making this gateway where government agencies, even in Germany, France, England, can take down stuff here on our platform, here in the U.S., they had to get a subpoena to remove those items. eBay just waived the right to them requiring that and just, go ahead and take it down. So, again, I don't know who took my thing down. I don't know if this is going to happen again. I don't. You never know now. And it's not the first time. It did happen once before. The wife reminded me a couple years ago. They took something down, and they were again totally wrong. It was a picture, and it was just because of the wording. And I think back then it was AI, but this time I was personally told it was a person, which I find odd unless it was someone off platform possibly. Because again, why wouldn't the AI have caught that? Or AI flagged it and the person looked at it, but again, it wasn't up for even an hour. It just seems so odd to be pulled down that quick. I reported things that were dangerous that somebody could have got hurt selling, and they were up for days. So again, am I singled out because of videos that I did on the topic? I don't know, but I got to wonder when they surveil people and send threats. And one of the things that eBay sent, the eBay employees, high-level eBay employees sent to the Steiners, was how to survive or how to cope with the death of your spouse. That'd be like somebody sending that book to me and talking about my wife's death, which I've had death threats over a video that was actually talking about eBay on this channel that was actually featured on an article on E-commerce Bytes about the same time frame. So I fully don't have much faith, trust, or anything in the executives. Now, if you talk to somebody on the phone at eBay, don't treat them bad because they're doing what they're supposed to. They can only give you the information that they're given. People were talking about calling eBay and the chats and stuff and being told, it's an error, they're going to fix it. Well, the people telling you that are being told to say that, I'm sure. They don't have any authority to make up something. They don't have any authority to give you certain types of information. You can't hold customer service here in the U.S. accountable for what their bosses are making them do. Don't treat them bad. None of the folks that you talk to on the phone have anything to do with any of this going on. I know I get upset and bothered sometimes, very rarely. It's almost always about eBay because it's the one I always have the hassles with. But don't treat folks bad, I guess, would be the biggest point on that. You're allowed to be upset, because especially if they're doing something and shutting you down for no reason or dinging you or whatever the case may be. It's gotten to the ridiculousness. It's like a terrible SNL skit it's turned into. You know what I mean? Anyway. 1 degree, or how are you doing? Good evening as well. Marilyn Wilson, how are you doing? Arkansas. I have been to Arkansas once before. Just once. Well, we've driven through there. But I stayed in Arkansas for 3 days at some massive log cabin resort out in the middle of the woods. Couldn't even tell you the name of it. But it was a corporate retreat that I was forced to go to. Anyway. Unicorns Don't Lie, how are you doing? A police badge situation. Fire dog medallion and collar. I would say that's technically not something that they could say is if it's a fire dog collar, chances are the fire department itself, it's their own mascot, would be my opinion. I wouldn't think that would be a government entity. I don't think government money would be allowed to be spent on the first place on a dog for a fire department, in my opinion. There's no salary. They're not a paid employee. So in my opinion, I would have to guess yes, but I would call them to make sure, just to be on the safe side. If it wasn't issued by a government agency, it's just some person at the fire station that had it made, that's a totally different story. So just my take on it. I do sell police buttons. There's nothing wrong with that. The law is just over badges, legal police badges and things like that. I can't see as you're going to put it on your dog and they're going to imitate a fireman. Again, that's just opinion. I can't say for sure, but if it was me, I would probably assume that it would be safe. If it was me, I'm not telling you to do that, but that's my assumption. You never know with eBay. They could come and put the hammer down on you. Let's move on down. Yeah, eBay reps. Again, with eBay reps and the policies and stuff like that, too, we don't know who took this down. It may not be an employee. It may be somebody using this government gateway that's now allowed to take your listings down. They're no experts. That's my biggest problem with this gateway and eBay allowing other people to take your listings down who don't have anything to do with eBay but are government officials. The problem with that is, again, they don't know. They may not even look at the category and take stuff down. There's no way an animal part, or no way this, or no way that, just because it's like a picture of a switchblade knife. Can't sell switchblade. Well displayed, excellent, nice image or something like that in the title. It's in the photo section. They could get it dinged down. You can't sell switchblades. The person who took it down isn't paying enough attention. They don't necessarily do this for their living. They may not even know the eBay categories, the breakdowns, anything else like that. You know, if something's in a paper category, it looks like a piece of paper. I'm not going to assume it's a turtle shell. But I may write turtle shell in the title because it shows a picture of a turtle shell in it. I've had things like that. I have a die cut right now for turtle soup that's in the shape of a sea turtle. I don't think I listed sea turtle because I think I've already run into that issue with eBay once before years ago. So, you know, everything seems to be, if you're listing all these certain things, even if you're following the rules, you could be dinged on it, like the adult material. First, I'm told I can't list in the normal section. You put it in the adult section, even though it has nothing to do with the adult section. Now I got to put it back in the section it was originally in the first place. Because, again, there was nothing wrong with it to begin with. And, again, their terminology on what is and isn't allowed in the adult section is so ridiculously vague. It says anything sexual in nature can't be listed. But, you know, some of the stuff is sexually oriented that they are allowing to list. Other items, just because it shows a person on it doesn't mean it's sexually revealing or anything else like that. There's people who fell in love with a tree, who married a tree and things. That's real. I mean, so we better not show trees on eBay. I mean, I don't know where it stops, but it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This is because of the Walmart people running the company, in my opinion. If it wasn't for Walmart people coming in, I don't think that section would have ever been killed. End of story. Or they're trying to sell the company. I don't know, but they don't have a clue in my book. Let's see here. Good evening from the Texas Hill Country. Welcome. I've sold 2 items in the past year and got ripped off on both by 2 different methods. Garage sale time. Phone reps never know what is happening, that's for sure. But again, it's not their fault. It's a big company. They don't tell the lowly people. They may know exactly. I would put it this way. In my opinion, I think eBay knows exactly what they're doing with the medium mail blockage. I can't see how they don't. Because a year and a half ago, they were blocking them off the exact same way as what we're seeing right here. My take is the people blocking them don't understand what medium mail is to begin with. Somebody told them, hey, shut it down. They shouldn't be able to do that. And they never thought about what medium mail is. Why isn't it fixed yet if that's not the case? It doesn't take weeks to do a fix like this. I've done programming. I can do a database myself. I've set up databases. I've got a degree in it, database design and construction. I know how it works. Don't tell me that it's not something that can be done. If they turn it off, it's just as easy to turn it back on. They know. And if they don't know, every person who was involved in that in the IT department shouldn't be working for them anymore. But again, this is a year and a half ago they started turning off media mail in other categories. A year and a half ago. I brought it up. I have copies of letters dated that I can prove I brought this up to eBay like a year and a half ago. So I don't believe it. I don't believe what they're saying if they're telling you it's that. I could conceivably see that this is their ploy to get rid of it, to stop it, and they're going to act like it's an act. I don't believe anything they say like that. Anybody from corporate office, because they're never truthful with us. Never, never, ever, ever. I don't believe most of what they say. Either that or they'll blow you off or anything, and they won't respond. They'll give you some bogus PR statement, and that's the end of it. You know. Let's move on down here. J. Spain Green, the irony is not missed. I was thinking how you just told us to be careful. You always got to be careful. And even if you're doing something right, you got to be careful. Again, I timestamped this one because it was just freaking listed. Just listed. Now, the chances of them catching my one single listed item in Victorian trade cards over the ivory that I was able to find listed that they didn't pull or check into, why me? Why was my item that was just listed not even an hour ago pulled? Why did my sales tank the minute that happened? Is this retribution for me putting out videos? I brought up, I was talking about some other changes, and somebody assumed it was me that I was going to be talking about. You know, I wonder if eBay's went after me before. You know, I know what happened when I did have an article on e-commerce bites about one of my videos. I was attacked at that same time. I don't know. I don't trust eBay. I don't trust them at all with what they've done. You know, I know who I'm working with. Let's just say, I know that I've got to keep them at an arm's length at all times and cover every single spot I can to make sure that they can't screw me over any way they can. And that's all this turned into. Again, that's why I'd rather make less money than deal with this. I'm not all about the money, and I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm more about the freedom this gives me. I can make money other ways if I really wanted to, but I like the antiques. I'll make it work some other way if I have to. I'll make less money if I have to, because I'm not going to be abused and have this kind of stuff happen all the time. It's just ridiculous. I know I'm ranting again, but let's see here. Let's see here. Hang on, I'm just trying to swap back on down. They thought it was real jerks. Yeah, we don't know who took it down. We don't know if it's eBay or somebody else who doesn't even work for eBay. Again, that's why it's so aggravating. And we're going to get less information as this goes by. Hey, Penny, how you doing? Industrio Crow, welcome. Yeah, thanks, Dom, for that timeout. Somebody's going to call and say, wow. Well, if you're selling on the site and this is your living, this is something that affects my business. This is something that took me away from my business for a considerable amount of time dealing with this. And I'm glad I did, because it looks like I was marked on my account and my sales did drop. So this isn't like, you know, I pay a lot of my bills. This is our business. This is what I do. If your business is shut down, I think you'd be a little upset about it too. But anyway, let's see here. Hey, Michelle, how are you doing, Michelle? Rainy Yusuf, how are you doing? Sandra L. Got a notice similar for an item that has been listed for 3 months. First time this has happened to me. If it's not a legit item, you need to call them, unless it says, or email them through Facebook, eBay for Business on Facebook. If it doesn't say no action was taken against your account, you need to contact them and get it removed if you did nothing wrong, because that could be sitting on your account and lowering your seller status and kill your sales. We know they do that. They've admitted, it's even in the user agreement, that they don't even have to show any of our items and you still have to pay for them. They don't have to show your items ever if they don't want to. That's in the user agreement. I've showed it. It's in my videos. You can see it word for word, large screen blow up on that statement from the user agreement. I have read it over recently just to make sure I'm not missing anything, because there's constantly changes in it. Hey, Kia, how are you doing? Welcome. Good evening. Duncan, what can you do when your sales are dead on eBay and you have still been listing like usual? I always do the markdown, sales and markdown, just to get people to watch, and then from the watchers I send offers to watchers. It works every time, except since yesterday when I got the ding. So again, if they're watching this, I'm getting to wonder if they've ghosted my listings at this point. You know, and I bet you there still isn't a sale on my phone right now. And I'm exactly right. I can pretty much pull up my last weeks on end. Okay, hang on just a second here. Okay, thanks, Dom. Yeah, I got your text, Dom. Sorry. Yes, so where are we at now? Hang on, I'm just moving down past a few things on the feed. I got my feed blown up so I can read it. For those who don't know, I do have an eye issue. Pink Elephant LTD, that is awful. You can tell a real feather from an illustrated one. I can. The colors are, I mean, I know you can dye feathers, but it's an illustration. And my stuff has zoom-ins, and you can blow up and look at it large. For whatever reason, I can't see it large now, but the point of it is that this is just ridiculous. Let's see here. Thank you, Jace, man. Charles Lowe, you have talked many times about niche sites. Do you know any sites besides eBay, Etsy, or Amazon? Depends on what you're selling, I guess, would be the best point. Discogs is actually pretty good of a site. Ruby Lane, I do hip, and I know I've had some folks say that hip comic books hasn't been as great for what they're listing. I haven't done the hip comic books yet. I'm telling you that straight out. I do have a comic book page. I do have an account with them already for the comics section. I'm just on a kick for listing the smaller stuff. If I get stuck with the comic books for a while, I'm not going to be too upset because I like comic books. So I bounce around. I'm in a big kick with trade cards right now, postcards, buttons, and things like that. I've been listing vintage. I'm not looking to do comic books right now. I've been just boxing them up and setting them aside as I get them. And I got some massive amounts. I got thousands of nice comic books, but classic rock lover. You got to wonder if it's vindictive. Again, we know they do that. We know the whole basically corporate scheme was to attack a couple because they were putting negative publicity out. It makes me wonder. Again, it made me wonder when it happened to me and I was attacked over a video quite some time ago. Let's see here. Metal detecting with CZ Kid. How are you doing? Yeah, you got to be careful in everything they do. Michelle, I was suddenly showing as a suspended user a few nights ago. About 30 minutes, then suddenly I was back. Scared me so bad I have no bad things on my account at all. Wow, that's pretty screwed up. That is very screwed up. I would have taken a screenshot, truthfully. A screenshot of that, just to save so you can prove that they did that. Because that's pretty scary, because that means they just shut you down. Just in time flipping, how are you doing? Oh, Sandra L, my sales had dropped off. The struggle is real, but I am 1 year into eBay. What can I do? Again, the sales and markdown is what I always recommend. If you're selling clothing, you might have to promote. I don't promote anything, but if I was doing clothing, I would probably be forced to promote because of the way eBay's search results and how they're doing things these days. Look, I'll give, if you guys want to try something, anybody out there wants to try, guys, gals, you want to try something, look for some of the items you have. Clear off your web browser, clear off all your history, clear off everything, or go to a whole new place and do it. And look for the items you have up and see how easy it is or how hard it is to find. You'll be surprised at some keywords that won't show up even though they're in the title of your item. You do it yourself. Do it yourself if you doubt that. I've done this far too long. This is what I do full time. I've done this for like 12, 13 years full time. This is all I do. So I've done all this stuff. This is what I do, so I want to improve it the best way I can. I used to give eBay the benefit of the doubt every time, but I can't. I can't. Let me see here. Car Files, eBay is dead. Yeah, some people are definitely having no sales. Now, I'm actually up still, even accounting for a loss in a day and a half of sales. I'm still up from last year and last month. Like 5.9% or something month over last month, and I'm up even more than I think year over last. So I can't complain overall, but I never have a day like this until that happened, and I could almost time it by when that hit my account. Because I know somebody's always on a laptop, and sometimes there's 6-7 people on laptops here. Everybody sees the emails when they come in, so we caught it right away. I called right after it happened. Let's see here. Talk about cutting off your nose to spite your face. I guess eBay doesn't need your money. Marilyn Wilson. I don't know what to say about eBay anymore. As I said, again, I don't hold any ill will towards the people working on eBay, but the upper execs and stuff, man. Oh man. And I've worked for some very good executives in a national company with Einstein Brothers. The senior vice president was an awesome guy. My regional vice president was an awesome guy. The one guy that ran half the country, awesome guy. All these people were awesome. That's a business to me. Those are the people. I'd have done anything for those guys because they would have done anything for me. I've talked about Lou. He flew in on his anniversary to take over for me at my spot because we lost a child back in the day. So I don't want to get into that too much, but he flew in. And he gave up like a whole week plus of his whole life. They had plans. He canceled reservations and travel to help me out. And that's what I consider someone good, morally just, and someone right. That's what I would do. And I don't see that from anybody working at eBay, any upper management. Again, I'm not trying to ding any of the lowly staff, other than the people at IT that don't understand how stuff works. They should understand. They should be able to avoid issues. They should have tested it for weeks, months on end in a VPN and a virtual network. They should have set it up ahead of just anyway. I heard someone saying they deleted 200 items that were not selling, and they redid them from scratch to get them to get some of them to sell. Seems like crazy to have to do that. If you change one of the key things in a listing, the title, the price, or photo, that should get you enough. Instead of, I'll never sit there and redo all the listings. I know people say do this, do that. I don't have time to do that. I've got too many listings up. That's all I'd be doing. That's all I would be doing every day of my life if that's what I had to do. And it's just not practical. It's not practical at all. Like what they're doing now, and I know they say they don't do this. I've been told they don't end your items if they're constant renewal. I had several end the other day, and it said that notice. In fact, Ina has an article about that, or I think maybe it was a reader letter to the editor. But they ended a couple of my listings and said you haven't had a sale on this item in a while. You should edit it or correct it or fix it or something like that before you relist it. I just relisted it. It takes the right person to sell antiques, so they don't even know how their own site works. Anybody who sells vintage and collectibles knows that every person signing on eBay is not going to want your items. Part of the reason I don't share my store with people, because who's going to want my items? It's not sellers that are going to want to buy an 1876 trade card or a button from some obscure company or country or something. That's not the point. You know, it's ridiculous. I know I'm ranting again, but let's see here. Where are we sliding down here? I would not do that though, Duncan. I would never invest the time. Yeah, Dom, with the pinup thing. I was forced to list it in the adult section, even though it didn't violate any rules at that point, nor at this time at all. So eBay can say anything is sexually oriented and can't be listed on the site if they want, because of the complete and utter vagueness of the adult policy. And I wished I still had it open, but in the email I got about that, it says, why do we have this policy? And they go on to allow adults to buy adult-only material. Again, you can't do that anymore, even though that's what the policy still says. And to stop people and to police the system or police the site so people not of age who are not wanting to see that won't have to see it. Well, the problem is with that, they already had that and they got rid of that. There was a firewall gateway to get to any of the adult material. That was the saving spot where no one could just see it. Now, since you can't do that, people are listing adult material on regular eBay, just like I said it would happen. It didn't stop it. It made it worse. Again, they've got some other motive. It's not to clean up the site. I don't care what they're telling everybody else. In my opinion, I'm allowed to have it. This is news to me. But again, it's BS. It's BS because a gateway, a blocked, password-only, age verification spot was what was the only way to get to the adult items. The items that you saw on eBay that were adult prior to what they did recently and got rid of the adult site were not ever listed in the adult section, and that's why you could see them. They didn't stop people from, by them getting rid of a gated off section, a walled off section from the whole platform, it was protecting people. Now it's not there. So now you're going to have the same type of people. They're going to try and get away with listing adult items on the site. It's just like the scammers. It's the same thing. They're not policing it. They're making it worse. They're removing it, trying to push that they're morally just and doing the right thing to whatever the crowd of people is that's complaining. But again, these are the same people who went after and attacked a couple. It's hypocrisy beyond belief. Again, I knew I'd get some negative feedback, so I always get them on these times. If you're enjoying the conversation, please hit that thumbs up. I've got 367 people in house, 178 likes right now. So again, this is news. Everybody should understand all of this stuff. If you work for someone, you want to know what their business is doing. It's to everyone's benefit to follow, track, and keep an eye on what's going on, not just on eBay, whichever platform you sell on. Amazon's got new things going on. There's new things you need to be aware of. There's tax things you need to be aware of. Pay attention to all this. Follow it along. Keep track with what's going on. It's going to help you. It's going to help you. I mean, it's good to know these things. Just like the animal, you have to put the word illustration of in your titles if you're listing animal stuff, in my opinion, at this point. There's no other way around it because we don't know who's pulling our items down. And if it was an eBay person, that's even worse because they should have seen many things like this before. I sell beautiful, fancy bird feather, die cuts, and all kinds of things like that all the time. Again, right after I put up a video, then I'm dinged. It's so frustrating. D-Rizzle, I got into back and forth with eBay for business and didn't get a sale for almost 2 weeks. Those guys are petty. I believe that could happen because I've had many people tell me that exact same thing. You know, they mark a thing on your account, and I got a similar incident when I went into it with somebody at eBay. I was right. I wasn't going to let them say that I wasn't right on the policy. I sat there and asked for a manager and all this other stuff and wanted them to go read the page. They wouldn't look at the page. They knew they were right, but I was right. I don't like it when someone who works for the company doesn't know their own stuff and won't at least say, well, maybe I should at least look. I'm sorry. If I'm not sure, I try to look. Always try to look for stuff. It's a no-brainer. Just in time flipping. I don't list it for another reason because I do get idiots that come on and do stuff. I'm not trying to get money from anybody who's watching the videos. I like the history. I like talking about the site. I like the news. I like what's going on. I like the changes. I like to see, and it's part of my business. You know, I'm not trying to push my sales. I know most of the other YouTubers who do eBay and stuff like that put out their store. But again, there's nothing wrong with somebody wanting to buy their stuff, but most of what I sell is beyond what most people would get or want, you know. Some of my other sites probably I could do that and a lot of people would buy stuff, but again, I'm not trying to profit from people buying my items because of my videos, I guess. You know, I'm sure I do make some money on here, don't get me wrong, but that's not the bottom end. I personally would make less money to be happier any day of the week. Any day of the week. eBay is freedom. That's what eBay is. Reselling in general, not just eBay, but reselling in general is freedom that I've never had in my life, ever. I've always worked for somebody, and again, I know people say, well, you're technically kind of working for eBay. No matter where you're at, there's always some top end where you can't get beyond that. So again, we work with the structure of what we got to the best of our ability, I would say. Yeah, I'll be done with this spike. You won't hear another word about this unless they do it again. I mean, I'm done. I have to say my piece, and if you know, this is just me. I know I'm probably a little irritated about this, and I try to never get irritated, but when it happens days in a row, it's just let's see here. Dixie Ding, interns running the show, hope they understand what illustrations mean. Again, I wasn't in there originally. I did not have illustration in there originally, but I have to treat the people looking at my listings and take them down as they don't have enough knowledge and they're not as intelligent, so I have to dumb it all down, in my opinion, I guess. If that's an insult to the people who took it down, fine. I'm fine with that today. And why wasn't it just taken down instead of totally removed? I couldn't do anything with it. I couldn't even challenge it. There was no way for you to be able to challenge that other than calling them. The listing still has to be there because you have to be able to report or files. I don't know how else to do it without calling eBay. So they put you in a I got to deal with eBay situation when that happens. And again, if you don't call and think, it's just one item, I could care less, so what? You could have a ding on your account. And seriously, there must be, because why would I have to appeal it if it wasn't a ding, a mark on my account? I was issued a notice, a warning, so something was on there. And with the sales, I'm sure they put me in a timeout. They put me in a timeout. So, you know, I wouldn't put it past them to still go after people. Bad publicity is bad publicity. I wouldn't put it past them. Let me pop on down here. Stardust Memories had them pull some of my listings recently. It wouldn't have known it if I hadn't noticed the number of my listings went down. No notice or warning, no record whatsoever, like they never existed. I've heard that. I've got listings that don't exist that I know I still have the item. I don't. There is one mistake that I've noticed some folks make. Here's an example on stuff. Let's say something was ended and you relist it, but you don't delete the original listing. You have to go back and delete it. And I know a lot of people will sell an item, and then they'll accidentally have relisted it because they didn't realize they should have deleted those original ended listings. If you sell similar, you're creating a whole new listing. So if you don't delete those original listings, I can personally give you examples of folks that I've talked to that have accidentally relisted it just because of that. They didn't delete it. They came back and go, oh, look, these aren't relisted. They didn't look at the fact that it said relisted. They just went ahead and relisted them. They had them up 2 and 3 times. So if you're not paying attention, you're not tracking it from the right page, there's 2 sections on your listing page, your listing tab in the hub, that are confusing to some people and that can send you in the wrong directions. There's unsold and there's ended listings. Those aren't necessarily the same thing. So if you do it in one spot, you may be messing up, and it could be something you physically have even sold that you're relisting if you're doing it from the ended versus the unsold page or the unsold section. So again, that's one of those things that I have caught some folks and showed them how to stop that and what you need to do. If you ever have something that ends and you hit sell similar, you got to delete the ended one after you sell similar. Otherwise, you're having it in there twice, and that's just not good. So, got a little spider. I had a little spider, and I think everybody knows I hate spiders. Let's see here. Crypto and smart contracts will fix this. Crypto's not going to fix this. The government's going to come in and put the hammer down. I can almost guarantee you. At some point, it is going to be regulated. I can guarantee you that. Big business, corporate America is not going to allow you to have that. You know it. Everybody should know that. They want their hands in it, and if they can't get money or control the funds, it's not going to be allowed at some point, unless they're all making a fortune on it. But if the pinup is not showing anything, why is it considered adult? That was the whole point, Pink Elephant, I made when they initially, months back, told me I needed to put it in the adult section only. Again, at that point, I pulled up and discussed it. I brought up what the policy said, and I wasn't violating the policy. I could have listed those magazines openly and freely without covering anything up on even Amazon. And Amazon is way worse than some of that stuff. So anyway, it's just the principle of that stuff. All that stuff was allowed before. It was, moved back and forth, and now it's back where it was originally. In a non-blocked off, non-safe place you can put it. There's no separation now. Everybody lists on the normal site. There's no adult section. So if there's adult stuff, it's just for everybody to see now instead of that walled off section. That's my biggest complaint about that, because it's doing the opposite of what they want to do. It just means that they're going to have to spend more time catching people listing adult material in the normal sections. And they're not spending the time to get stuff off that they had before they did this. It's just going to make it worse because, again, I bet you that when they sell another one of their assets, more stock buybacks. Instead of hiring, how many employees they could have hired with just a couple $100 million a year instead of spending $5.1 billion? Do you know how much staff that would have bought? Do you know how much technical and backup equipment and new technology and AI, you know how much that would buy? $5.1 billion? That's enough to have bought the entire Marvel company, which is what Disney did. I'm at loss why anybody wouldn't invest in their own business to make it better. Most everybody out there wants your business better. You'd invest in it. You'd take care of it. You'd treat it right. You'd do whatever it takes to make that business better. You wouldn't just worry about your pocketbook. I don't worry about my pocketbook like that. I know a lot of people, that's all that matters is the bottom line, the money. Obviously with my business, yes, but I'm more about my freedom, and nothing's going to change that. Picky Ricky, people are worried about food. That might be why sales are slower, as well as it being summer slowdown. Yeah, again, I'm not having a summer slow. It depends on what you sell is the bottom line. If you're selling collectibles, Duncan's a perfect example. He sells stamps exclusively. Right now, stamps are going like mad. And not just on eBay. There's better sales on like Hip Stamp on there. There's Del Camp. There's other sites that are those other sites I just mentioned, like Del Camp's, I do believe has more stamps than eBay. And they sell other stuff than stamps too. It's an antique site. You can sell all kinds of stuff on Dell Camps. It is a foreign site, but I do have an account with them. Let's put it that way. Anyway, depends on what you're selling. Clothing, households, inside games and stuff. That stuff's not going to sell right now. Everybody wants to be outside and abuse summer while they can. School's coming back in session. Another thing, if you're selling clothing and stuff, I would almost guarantee you that your clothing sales may be down for the next 3 or 4 weeks because school's coming back in. And for those of you who don't have kids, or those who do have kids, you've got to buy supplies. You've got to buy clothing for school. If your kids go to a school that wears a uniform, you got to spend the money on the uniforms. You can't just buy them here or there. They have to match certain specifics. I went to a Catholic private school, and we had to wear uniforms too. I had to wear a tie to school for grade school and all that stuff too. The girls had to wear the jumpers, the blue plaid jumpers. I went to a Catholic grade school for quite some time. I was an altar boy and all that kind of stuff too. But anyway, not trying to be on a high horse or anything. Let's pop down here and get some more questions. Let's see here. I'm very slow right now. Jay Span Green. Feels like the summer downturn combined with COVID freedom making everyone go out and enjoy. Yeah, again, it's the end of summer. If you're selling vintage collectibles, I can sell high-end collectibles any time of the year if it's the right item, because the people who want to fill a spot in their collection don't care what time of year it is. They don't even care what the money is. If you've been following even some of my videos and other folks' videos, comic book prices are through the roof. Marvel trading cards through the roof. More so now with the pandemic than any other time in history. And it's a bunch of categories like this. A bunch of items are through the roof in pricing. They're going up. They're going up and up and up and up and up. Some of the grading companies are so impacted that they're not even taking new business because they're backed up months, like PSA and all those companies too. So, it's a good time for collectibles. It's probably one of the better times for collectibles. That's why I say that if you're selling the right things, you're not going to have that crash like you would think. You may see a little slowdown, but it's nothing like what I did when I had clothing and stuff. It just tanked all the time. Nowadays, I don't see that. It's steady pretty much all year round. Like as I said, my eBay sales tanked within an hour from them dinging me for that. I sold more on HIP since then. I sold more on HIP since yesterday afternoon to right this minute than I sold on eBay. And that's why I say there's no freaking way that my sales should have tanked if eBay hasn't done something to my account, in my opinion. Because I wouldn't have sold and I sold to multiple people on HIP. I didn't just sell to one person, bought a whole bunch of stuff and got us some money. So, I'm looking at this. I do research. I don't just throw out some fictitious thing. I compare. If there's other folks in here saying too that they complained or got into it with eBay for Business and their sales tanked. I felt that same thing happened to me before, and this is another example of it. When you get into it with somebody on the phone, it does seem like there's some button they can hit or press that says, let's suspend his stuff from being seen. For all I know, that they might have that. I don't know, but either way. I talked to 3 different people on top of it. Susan or Sandra L. Mine was a pillbox hat from the 60s, had feathers. As long as you know the type of feathers, you can sell feathers. As long as they're not, one of the types of feathers you can't sell. A blue jay. Somebody in one of my groups had a blue jay feather up. They found in their backyard and they listed a lot of feathers, and they got dinged for the blue jay feather. So songbird feathers you can't sell either. Again, I didn't sell a feather. It was a picture. It was an illustration. It was an artwork. It was drawn. It wasn't a picture. It was literally an illustration, a chromolithographed card from 1892. Hang on, I'm just trying to get to some picky. I think we should expect to sell less for at least a couple of years. Again, I'm not seeing that. I don't see that in collectibles. Again, I've got quantity. Quantity usually rules the day. If you've got quantity, you're going to see those sales come in. I've never had any, long period of time where I was worried. I don't worry at all these days, too, because I do projections, and I track my sales multiple times a day to see if I'm up or down. That's why I can say my sales tanked. I can compare weeks and weeks on end before this. Even on the holidays, I did well. Let's pop on down here. Macari, yeah. Jay Span Green's thinking about Macari. Yeah. I've thought about it, but I just don't see the traffic for. I look at traffic reports. You can look at traffic reports for sites, and I got videos on how to check traffic reports. You want to check out how much traffic is going to a site, what their bounce rate is. All those are key factors when you want to decide if you're going to sell on a site. If their bounce rate is terrible, I'm not going to want to use the site. Bounce rate is how much time, how many pages they technically view on a site before they bounce off of it. And if it's like a page or less, just stay away from those sites in general, in my book. They're not enough draw. If no one's at least looking at a couple pages, you're not going to get much out of that site. Metal detecting with CZ Kid. Wait till a customer demands a chargeback and eBay leaves you so fast. Make your head spin. Yeah, now, I did have one. I had a case that there was a chargeback for an item that they got, and I won it. eBay sided with me. I followed all the rules in there specifically. Now, some of the rules state that you have to offer free shipping or 30-day return. So that's another reason why I do that. Again, I've explained that. There's a video up here showing word for word some of those steps. If you don't do that, though, you're not covered in all these aspects. So, again, I would rather pay a little extra or deal with a little something extra, excuse me, to make sure I don't have any issues. I don't want bad feedback. So it's worth to spend a little money or to invest or do something else to make sure you don't have bad feedback. Michelle, a lot of feathers are a crime to sell. It's a violation of the federal wildlife, what's it called? I wrote the name down. Federal Wildlife Agency, I guess. Like an eagle feather. If you have an eagle feather, that's a $10,000 fine. You go to jail for that. A blue jay feather, any songbird feather cannot be listed. I don't think they're on the endangered species list, but it's against the law because people would just go out and kill them just to get the feathers. So a lot of feathers you can't list. If you know it, like as a chicken or a goose feather, you have to list that in the title. If you're selling any type of feather, any feather at all, if you list on eBay, you have 100% have to put what type of feather it is, and you better darn well make sure it's one that's legally allowed to be sold. If you sell bone, it's the same thing. Most bone, I do a lot of tribal jewelry that has bone and like porcupine quills and things like that in them. As long as you know what the type of bone is, and I know my bone these days, as I've sold so much bone and ivory, or not ivory, bone, horn, and like antler. You know, you can sell a lot of those, but you have to know what type it is. Most of it's very distinguishable, and in fact, my video talking about the wildlife one, I've got a link to a page talking about ivory, but there's also more information on feathers and all types of other things over there as well, too. But I, again, didn't sell a feather. I sold a chromolithograph illustration. Well, it's not even sold, but I listed, the wife listed, I'll take that back. Marky listed it, and they yanked it like less than an hour after it was up. So, and it was just a photo, or a illustration of a feather. You got it harsher over in the States. Here in the UK, we are not losing our shops like you are over there. Let's pop down. We're going to end it here in just a few moments here. I'm talking way longer than I said I would. Yeah, feather hat with feathers on it. Again, that could get you dinged. That could get you banned from the site even so. Bob Hale makes me wonder if an ostrich egg from a farm will get dinged. No, they won't. You can sell ostrich eggs. I got probably a box of 20 or 30. Ostrich eggs are green and blue, if you didn't know that. They're really dark green. In fact, I think I've shown some on here. I've got ostrich egg. I'm sorry. Ostrich eggs are white. I'm thinking of emu. Emu eggs, ostrich eggs you can sell. Emu eggs are green and blue. I think the green is the male, and I think the blue is the female. Each one's different. You can always tell the sex of an emu. Our cousin Billy actually has emus on his farm, actually. So I've seen them up close. I've got a bunch of eggs here. But I do have, I think, 3 ostrich eggs and like 20 emu eggs. People will take ostrich eggs, artists, and they'll turn them into like a Fabergé egg style. They'll put a scenery in there and stuff. In fact, that's why I bought the ostrich eggs, to actually do that too. An ostrich egg I can get for around $6 to $8, depending on how large it is. And on eBay, I usually can get 15 or 20 out of them. So it's something that sells. Emu eggs sell as well too. Emu eggs I can get for just a couple bucks shipped if I get them from a cousin. But Maybe I'll go into that on the Art Professor, because I've cut some. I've got one here that I did do into like a Fabergé thing, and that was my goal, but I never have time. Hang on, let's just get to one more. And Industrial Crow Mercari has been slow too, but they now have local where Uber will pick up and deliver larger items. Yeah, I don't like Uber at all. I've never been in an Uber or Lyft ride. None of that. I don't do any of that. I don't like someone picking up my food and my items. I've seen a whole bunch of videos here on YouTube, not recently, but I've seen a whole bunch of videos when we first heard what Uber was, and it was people eating people's food. It's not Uber. It's GitHub maybe, or something like that. Whatever that food service is. Because when COVID started, we looked into, with my son, I was worried, and we still are somewhat, but we looked into pickup and delivery on food, because nobody delivers around us. No store around here delivers at all. So I don't want some stranger picking up my food and eating fries out of my bag before he delivers it to me. I worked in restaurants. I don't like, people touching my food in general. I don't eat after anybody else other than, say, my wife or the kids maybe, but that's about it. Not germophobic. I just don't. You never know. I'm cautious. But anyway, we're gonna let it go at that. Hang on, one more here, because I see that chargeback on a chargeback via their credit card. I mean, a chargeback through a person's credit card with managed payments, as long as you've followed everything and it's delivered to them. If it's delivered to them, they can't get their money back, from what I have seen and what's happened to me. I had 2 cases opened by the same person as a chargeback. They said they didn't recognize the actual purchase. Mind you, it was delivered, marked as delivered in 2 packages, I think it was. And I think I even refunded him for part of it at that time. It was a big, long ordeal. I got a video on it. But at the end of the day, I got to keep all my money. All of it. Every single dime of it. And again, I looked at the rules. Everything in there I followed. I did I think it's 30 days or free. One of those 2 you have to do for you to be covered as well too. Again, so there is a reason why 30-day free returns is essential. Again, look it up yourself. So for those who doubt, watch the video or look it up, because that's the truth. But anyway, that with the chargeback, as long as you're following all the steps that they say in the user agreement, it's delivered. They can't get your money back. Whether eBay gives it to them or not, you're not going to lose your money. That's exactly what I did. I got to keep it. And it was $127 worth from 2 different transactions. I've won every one of those, too, though. I think I had one more before that, too, from late last year. But anyway, we're going to let it go at that. I know I'm going on here and rambling a little bit. It's been one of those days. Busy. Again, check out the article at E-Commerce Bytes. I recommend everybody seeing what's going on. It's to your benefit to know who you're working with, I guess, is the point. But I hope everybody has a good day. I hope you enjoyed the conversation tonight. If you did, please hit the thumbs up there on the video. For those in Patreon, I just put in SEO keyword basics. I'm giving you, in that video, it's about a half hour long. It's got all the basics to help you to SEO and keyword everything in the collectibles category, pretty much. I gave you bottom ballpark. You can compare it to my store, excuse me, what I use. Video's up now. I got another video of that'll be up tomorrow on Patreon. It's the footage I don't put on YouTube for the Antique Mall haul I did just yesterday. It's just a few 20 minutes or so, I think, is what it is, of footage. It's already done. If I get a chance, maybe I'll put it up today. But I have answered emails for Patreons, or started to. I spend my time, so I will probably finish them either tonight or tomorrow. So if you've got anything, those in Patreon, you have any questions, you want to email me something, do it tonight, and you'll have your answer tomorrow too. So anyway, I thank you all, and I hope you all have a good day.